Yeah, watch it. Got the riffs on the track. Vet on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamar. Wow. Yeah, the statistics shows my ballistic flows generate big cake, not big candles that spaghetti them O's. I'm so ready, I done pack my clothes. I'm so heavy with no D, how them boys. I rock them gators more than Dundee boys. I'm the real raw deal, y'all just steal decoys. Like
So, and it transformed from fiction into realism, even though it is a work of fiction.
For that green light before break, no, not from New Orleans, but can you see me, homie? Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check, a text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check, a text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check. Check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Yeah, look around, left, right, up and down.
So in a time before everything starts, the second book kind of gets into the very beginning of it, and then the third book kind of ends up the first phase of what happened.
My target audience when I wrote it in my head was basically teenage girls that had read Twilight and were sorry that it was over.
From this reason. And they are enemies of being arsenic.
But you're the bus driver. Right. Yeah, there he is. I was like, that's cool. It's like it was made for it.
Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check, a text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't.
Yes. Welcome to another great show of APN TV Media. We have a lot of story for you today. As a matter of fact, you know what? Bob, Michelle.
Yes.
Yeah. I think today's topic is going to be I'm going to say it is motivational, but it's going to be more
inspirational.
No. Is it motivational sports?
Yeah, well, that's motivational, and it does inspire people, so yeah, combination there.
All right, so guess what? Today's topic's going to be motivational sports.
That's it.
And for motivational sports, guess who we have on the set today?
I heard someone great.
Oh, yes. He did from UPenn 2015
Yes.
Ivy League.
Ivy League, yes, championship team. Coach of an Ivy League championship team.
There's numerous, and just the last one, 2015.
2015, that's
So if
it.
anybody up on their football game, I'll tell you what, we've got Coach Malik. And I tell you what, without further ado, we'll have some fun today. party started, and we'll be right back after this.
Just like the game, snatch your game, I'm bouncing. Yeah, watch it. Got the worst on the track. That on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamont. Wow. Yeah.
Yes. Welcome back. And like I said, without further ado, let me bring in Coach Malik Hall.
Detroit family, Massachusetts family, New York family, to my football family and coaching family, everybody. Thanks
There we
for
go.
having me.
There we go. Yes. 2015. So you were part of that, the Ivy League team.
Yes. You know, I think championships can't be explained. I think from the outside looking in, everyone can see championships because, I mean, you broadcast when you win, but internally, I don't think anyone can say we have a championship team. I think that develops over time, and then next thing you know, you're a championship team. So I wish I could tell you that I had the secret formula to winning championships everywhere I've been. But I do believe my success on the football field as a football coach, you know, I credit that to, you know, God just putting me in the right place at the right time, and me just being true to myself and my beliefs and my belief in people. So championship happens to be a result of that, and I'll take it. I don't think anyone can turn away the hardware, though I don't wear them. And my wife is always wondering, why don't you wear your rings? You got 6 of them, they're just collecting dust. And I'm like, well, wow. I'm on to the next one all the time, you know? So to some degree, good is the enemy of great, right? So the moment that I start wearing all my rings, I start to buy, I'm trying to think of a politically correct word. I start to buy my own, as they say, you're starting to read you're reading your own press clippings.
Oh,
the moment you start reading your own press clippings, you start to believe it's you.
And not the team.
And that's the critical piece in it all. Like, for me, being a part of a team that's been my life. It's been my childhood. So now, you know, to say that my career is being a part of a team, what a blessing.
Do you think that because of all your hard work and dedication and being in the sport, that's what gives you the best advantage of being such a successful coach?
I would be remiss if I said that there's no truth to that. I certainly believe there is. However, you know, I came up in a educational household. So my mother's a teacher, my aunt is a principal / teacher, My grandmother is a Sunday school teacher. My other aunt is a nursing teacher. So the relatability to people and watching your elders growing up do that and relate to people on so many different levels, it's becoming innate to my character almost. I'm not trying to activate my coaching style through teaching. It just happens to be a part of who I am. And let's be honest, much of who we are is based on our experiences as we grow. So I just happen to have a foundation of teaching, and football helped me understand the psyche of a football player and how to activate some of the teaching components that I've learned just through my experiences of being in a teaching house. I think that combination, along with a little luck, is what added to some, my success as a football coach.
Wow. You would have started out as a player. Where did you play your college football, and what were your experiences that led you to want to be a coach?
Believe it or not, I didn't want to coach college football. Partly because football for me, I was starting to understand that football was using me and I wasn't using football. And I know that sounds very negative, but I think we all get an opportunity to do something we love. The moment we understand how to take that opportunity and double down on it to create a profession for yourself or to create upward mobility in that thing you love, I think you try to capture it. But to the question, I wanted to teach elementary and have me a 9 to 5, raise a family, get a white picket fence. But my grandma and my mom always says, if you think God doesn't have a sense of humor, tell him your story and watch what happens. So I just wanted to play football, and that journey has taken me to Minnesota for a year, Ohio for a year, to Massachusetts to graduate finally with a undergrad in education and sociology. And then football kept going because I tried to play a little pro. And at that point, I was starting to realize, I don't want to chase this until I'm 30. And I'm 30, and all I can say is I bounced around from league to league to league. And now I got to start entry level in a career. And it's I just want to, let's start it now, I started to understand what football is giving me. And now I wanted to really take advantage of it. And at the time when I graduated, Detroit was laying off teachers. And I'm only certified in Massachusetts. So I reached out to people back east because I wanted to get my graduate degree. And in 2 days, I had 4 opportunities to be a graduate assistant, which they would have paid for me to go get my master's. All I had to do was coach football. I'm like, I can do that. I can do that. Get my master's for 2 years, go back home, certified in education administration and leadership. No brainer. Next thing I know, 10, 12 years later, I'm a football coach. It was something that when they approached me about it, I'm like, why would I do? As a player, they wake us up at 7 a.m. We watch film, we do practice, we watch more film, we install whatever plays that we're running that week. So we would go down there at 7 a.m. and wouldn't leave the facility roughly around 6. You get a few breaks here and there, and everything wasn't mandatory, but when the coaches asked me, what do you think about coaching? I said, Coach, I've been here since 7. So that means you had to be here at 6 a.m., at least an hour before we got here. I'm leaving at 6, and you're going to stay another hour or 2. I don't even know what your wife is going to say. And as I look at my career, that's all I can think about is my family and how much they sacrifice for me to continue to chase a dream that I had at 7 years old to be a professional football player, but instead I've become a professional football expert, coach, or whatever it will be termed now. But
Now, what position did you play when you were playing?
I played defensive line. I played every position on the football field from Pee Wee all the way to college, you know. And I think that is probably my
But your main was the defense.
defensive line. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
defensive line.
As a collegiate player, I was a defensive lineman, and
But it's your expertise that actually promoted you into becoming a coach.
yeah, and it's funny how that works. You know, I think all of our experiences, we don't really know what they're for sometimes, and we're just kind of
Yes.
like, man, what? Oh, why did this happen? Why did that happen? You know, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh, I'm so glad that happened. You have your own aha moments, right?
Right.
So I don't know if you guys know the candy non-laters. Well, that candy it comes in packs of 6, and as a kid, I remember you could eat it. It could be soft or hard. You never knew how the candy was gonna be. It was gonna be either hard or soft, and you would eat it. It was still good regardless. And as a kid, you leave it in your pocket. Your mom washes your clothes. You go to school. A month later, you put those pants on, and you're like, "Well, I got non-laters," and they're still good. And it hit me like the name of, we call them non-laters, but on the package is now and later. And I think life is a lot like that in how we interpret our experiences. Sometimes it happens now, and we're like, I'm glad that happened, because if it didn't, whew, I'd probably be up ship's creek. But in the same token, when it happens later, you're like, duh, like it's been 10 years, but I figured it out. But I like to think that that's what life is like in its experiences, though life is a little more expensive than candy, but and that's just my analogy on it.
Wow.
Now, you coached at other schools besides Pennsylvania. Where did you coach before you coached at Pennsylvania?
Before UPenn, I was at Wagner College, which is in Staten Island, New York. I was a defensive coordinator out there for about 5 years. Before that, I was at the University of Massachusetts. I had an opportunity, to go back to my alma mater. I think, everybody in theory wants to be able to say that. And then I got fired, and that didn't go over so well. But as my candy analogy, like that was the best thing that happened for my career and my family, because you're either being hired or you're being fired as a football coach. And I was just fortunate enough where we wasn't experiencing that. I've never been fired. So for my wife to have to experience what it's like to be a wife of a football coach who just got fired, and for my son who was 2 and my wife is 6 months pregnant, whew, life happens fast. But again, those experiences, it shapes you whether you realize it or not. I think when you realize it, you start to use that as power. You use your experience and your pain as your power as you start to have a more understanding of what those experiences are for.
Now, a lot of that is referenced in your book. In 77 Days. Very powerful, very inspirational. I'd like you to cover your book a little bit for everyone, but asking you a question, I can also see reference and how it can be also inspirational for people that aren't necessarily in athletics, for very many different walks of life and different situations.
Absolutely. The concept of 77 days is, again, my grandmother used to say,
watch it. Got the words on the track. red on the boards. Church, Bishop Lamont. Wow. Yeah.
Coach Malik, reading your book, it's very inspirational and very motivational. And my question to you, I'd like you to explain your book to everybody, but in reference to that, do you feel that book, that even though it's written 77 days for football training, does it also correlate with like other people and just
Absolutely.
non-athletic?
Sure. My intention on writing the book was for the student athlete. And it just so happened I was a football coach and I was in football, so that was the athlete that I was in most contact with. But I certainly believe that while I was writing it, that if you get hurt, you get hurt. It doesn't matter the sport. Mm-hmm. And outside of football or athletics, we still get hurt, but it's an emotional hurt at times. Athletics is just easy to draw from a physical injury, but there's emotional injuries that happen along with the physical injury that I was trying to address to keep them empowered and keep them encouraged when they were going through their emotional injury, just as they were going through their physical injury. And the concept of it it was just so organic. You know, my grandmother always, and my mom for that matter, would always say you're either going in a storm or out of a storm. And at the time, we were 0-3 at Wagner College. And we had a U.S. Marine come in. And he talked about, they were in the trenches for 77 days. And he was saying that when they were in the trenches, bullets were flying, and the moment he remembered, he said, I thought I was gonna die there. I thought it was over. And that moment of panic hits the system, but then after the panic, all of your training takes over. And when the training took over, he understood, like, mentally I have to get myself out of the trenches before I can physically get myself out. And at the time, we're 0-3, and everyone on our team was thinking we're dead in the water. We're not going to the playoffs. We're not going to compete for a championship. And then he came in and wowed us all. And at that point, when he came in, we were 11 weeks from the season being over. And he was yelling 77 days. And I'm like, wow, 77 days from the day that he spoke would have put us in the playoffs. I was like, wait, this can't be right. So I kept doing simple addition and subtraction, and I'm like, wait, this has to be something more. And meanwhile, I was already doing our pregame chapel for our team. Mm-hmm. And as I was writing up what I was delivering for chapel, there was a segue that I had to write up for what I was going to deliver to the defense as a motivational pregame speech. And what I found was they were merging each other. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, we had Chapel, which was a completely different set of guys that came to Chapel every week. And then I would have my entire defense together and deliver almost the same type of message with a little more emotion to it because we're getting ready to play a game, and they received it. And I was thinking, wow, like, they don't come to Chapel though. A whole different group comes to Chapel, but they don't come to Chapel because of the stigma behind football versus spirituality. We're looked at as gladiators, right? I think us in hockey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So in the midst of being a gladiator, if you think about the movie, it was all tough guy, blood, guts, swords. Mm-hmm. But at the core of that movie, they were being gladiators for someone else. They were fighting for a bigger cause. Though on the surface, it seemed like it was a blood sport. And as irony may have it, that's where Play for Him came from, which is running throughout the book. Because I think on the surface, people think we're doing it for ourselves, for the popularity, for the girls, maybe. But I think at the end of the day, 77 days is about you going through your individual season and hoping that when I come out of this season, I'm gonna have some wins, I'm gonna have some victories, I'm gonna have some losses. But when the season's over, I'm a better person, I'm a better football player, I'm better spiritually, and now I get ready to go into my next season. Because one cycle ends, another beginning. Football season's over, you get 2 weeks, off-season training. Off-season training is over, get 2 weeks, spring ball. Spring ball is over, get 2 weeks, summer training. We all have a season. I just had a baby, my wife's going back to work. My wife got pregnant again, now she's not working. And even every experience, there's a phase, there's a season, and those 77 days, that 11 weeks, I'm hoping that people can come out of it with a greater sense of themselves spiritually and understand, like, man, I'm geared up for my next season. I'm ready to go. And now, going through tribulation, you have a little perspective, like, it's okay. It's okay, this is a season. I got next week too to prepare for. I don't have to think it's over. And then I win. I get a little more life in it. And then I leave again. Life is a stock market, right?
Well, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yes.
Is the spirituality side of what I'm gathering, or probably asking this, is the towards the end of the season, basically the spirituality is to keep you stable, more maintained in the off seasons?
The way I constructed the book was to help them get through the season. And what was happening, I was finding that during the season, I think as a coach, you sometimes forget that during the season, at times you can see the players as a product. Because for me, my livelihood is based on wins and losses, okay? So once you get wrapped up in that, you're no longer concerned about the person. Okay? So what I was trying to do was to let them know, like, listen, not only are you struggling with the fact that we lost, my wife's worried we're gonna get fired again. But the moment that I take that loss out on you, then what have we gained from it? Why wouldn't that repeat itself next week if we just say, this was your fault? No, it wasn't my fault, it was his fault. Where are we losing looking to point a finger on why we lost, or are we losing to say, okay, what can I do better next week?
Yes. Well, you talk about football players and gladiators and how they aren't supposed to be spiritual. But one of the most spiritual movies I've seen was Ben-Hur, which is about a gladiator. And so they're not supposed to be spiritual, but that's a tie in there. And the old coach from the University of Michigan, Bo Schembechler, didn't talk like a spiritual man, but if his players went to school, got a degree, and played the games, that's all he cared about. They had to do their best on the field, do their best in the classroom, and he was fine with that. And in fact, he had a player who could have played a 5th year, but he got a great job offer because he'd already graduated, and he took the job offer, and Bo was fine with that.
Right.
That's, when you're that type of coach, you might not talk like you're spiritual, but you're a spiritual person.
Absolutely. It's whenever you can whenever you can connect with people, right, it's the connection that you make with people that makes people want to go a step harder for you. That makes them want to say, you know what, I'm beat, but listen, I don't want to let this person down because I know that person is vested in my success. And not only is he vested in my success, he knows that my mother's dealing with cancer.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
So now imagine the type of effort and attitude you'll get out of him, win or loss. Because I know that he's struggling with his mom dealing with cancer. Or a person who I had another kid who, he's from Florida, you know, a heck of a talent, but was struggling the fact that his dad was locked up. That is the magic in my coaching, the personal relationship. Anyone can tell someone, hey, run 5 yards and come around. Catch the ball. Right. Thanks, coach. Right.
Do you use your book as a basis for your, do you use it like as a guideline for your coaching? Or is it
He's
something?
He's waving at us.
Oh, no.
My bad. I saw it. Okay. I couldn't keep it on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's gonna be a lot of splicing it. Okay, we cut.
Yeah, watch it. Got the riffs on the track. That on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamont. Wow. Yeah.
The customer you're trying to reach is not available. Please call back 19T2. The customer you're trying to reach is not available. Please call back. Data transfer complete.
The world has turned against this. They have not done it.
Oh my God.
There has been...
All right.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
Lay hospitalized in critical condition.
So, you know, even as I think about the relationships that we build in our day-to-day lives, I think those relationships that become personal are the ones we hold on the most. And why would athletics be any different? They are people.
But one thing I was looking at is also the fact that when I look at the game season and you know, I have to put it this way, in because you're living in that real world perspective, And in that real world perspective, you have those that, want to go out to party and stuff like that, whether in season or off season. They win a game and go out to celebrate and all that. And plus, during that time, win or lose, when it goes to off season, they have to take in if they lost, or I could have did this, or could have done that, or could have done better, or why did I party that night and I got benched? You follow what I'm saying? So,
absolutely.
Is it possible that I'm looking at your book at 77 days, a pre-game devotional, and I look at this pre-game devotional. Is this what this book is generally to? I mean, it helps you on and off season. It keeps you motivated, but motivated positive. Where that's what I was trying to get at, not just as far as the win or lose, but as far as, hey, I messed up. And how can I get myself back on track? Because now I'm feeling emotional, mentally messed up here. So, I'm going to get on that field. If they give me a chance to get on that field, and I'm going to show them what it's like, and they start get more aggressive. And the more aggressive takes away from the person's actual personality.
I think that, football players, and I hate to speak for all football players, but in my experience, football players are, there's a light switch, right? And I think one of the most common themes is that our light switch doesn't go off. What you see on a football field is what you're going to see when you see them in the mall or in a restaurant. But, we don't think Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to storm the beach and shoot up buildings when we see him because we know that that's a movie and he's acting. I think it's the same line. I just think it's finer. It's hard to see because we're not so much acting as much as we are using the attribute that we were blessed with. And I think at times from the outside looking in, knowing that football is a violent sport, you kind of can say to yourself, like, man, these guys are like hoodlums, or they're just like they're and I get it because the game is like that. At the same point, though, one of the things that I will honestly tell you that I've learned in my coaching career is that it is hard to win. And here's the thing. You can practice all week. You can train hard. You can do all of the right things that you were supposed to do. And it's still going to be hard to win. Not only will it be hard to win, if you put yourself in a position that you can win in the fourth quarter, it's hard to finish now. So, okay, how do I deliver that to my players? You got 10 problems you have 10 pages. You have 10 math problems. You're working relentlessly all night. You get to problem 8 or page 8. The human condition tells you, oh, I'm tired. I got 8 pages. Increase the font, widen the margins, new courier. You have all of these tricks to squeeze out 10.
Yes.
If it's a math problem, the last two problems, you're like, man, I just beat. Let me go get the answer in the back of the book. Like, that's an example on how hard it is to win or how hard it is to finish. Or how hard it is to finish, how hard it is to win, you can study your tail off for a test and still fail it. Does that negate your hard work? And what I want my players to understand is that in the process of winning and losing and experiencing the ups and downs of life, the question you got to ask yourself is, did I give a great effort and did I give a great attitude in the process? Because if I did, I can rest on that, man, that I'm accomplished now. Because I can look back and say, wow, that was a lot of work. I put a lot of work into that. And now I don't hold myself to the standard that the world will hold me to. I end up holding myself to the standard of my hard work.
Now, you're coaching at Pennsylvania, which is an Ivy League school, with Yale and Dartmouth and Princeton and.
Okay, now you're throwing a lot of names up there, and I'm letting you pin.
But it's considered to be at the top of the academic world. Now, because of that, do you notice a difference in the way the players respond to you, the way they listen to what you're telling them, how they accept it? You see any difference there?
This book, I trial ran it with the UPenn players. I wrote it 2 years before I got to UPenn. And I was worried that the book that I wrote would only work for the players that I experienced this, which I like to call a phenomenon like of praying in the locker room before a game, holding each other's hands, you know, being with. I just thought it was we were tied into each other emotionally at Wagner. Mm-hmm. And then I get to Penn and I start to give them, it's already baggage now. All I have to do is take a chapter out and hand it out. And I'm handing the chapters out. I'm like, wow, coach, like, can I get the whole thing? Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm kind of working on getting this published. And they're like, coach, this is awesome. So we go the entire season with it. And they loved it. And my reservation was that this is a different type of player, different type of student, different type of person, different background. But the commonality behind all of it is that we all know what it's like to win and we know what it's like to lose. But that's the commonality that we all share in life. We all share that commonality in life. And to your point earlier, that's how I hope it transcends into the regular world or the regular, I don't want to say regular world because I think the world is complex, but
society?
Yeah,
society
I just hope it fits into society of life. And
athletic or non-athletic.
Athletic or not.
Yes.
Athletics just happens to be the ship that I drive.
Or overall athletics in general, no matter what sport it is.
Sure. You know, I just think it happens to be the vehicle I'm in today. Tomorrow, I may not be in a football vehicle. But, you know, I don't know where that'll be. And I don't know, like I said, you know, who thought this would be a book? I was just writing it to inspire my guys because I knew that they all had personal issues of their own, and at the same time trying to win a championship. Like, wow, that's like going to work and you know you're going through a divorce, but you're the only one that knows that. And imagine how hard it is to keep what you know you're going through, but still perform at the level that everyone expects you to perform at because they've seen you perform there.
Now, how long till University of Penn decides to make it one of the textbooks that they carry?
Oh man, talk about I'm frozen. Do we have like a pass button? You know, listen, you know, because this book was conceived, you know, with the idea that I just want to help players. I'm still wrapping my head around the magnitude of who it can affect. And
if it's inspirational, it can probably help just about anyone because everyone, no matter what their job is, what they're doing, they'll hit a sticking point where they'll be thinking, okay, now here's what I've got to do and how am I going to get this accomplished and is it even worth the effort I'm making for it? And, you know, some inspiration can help just about anyone in that type of situation.
Yeah, I got to say, you know.
Well, they're not looking at it as a book, though. They're looking at it as something, when they approach you about it, they're looking at it as more of a part of them, something that was missing, that filled a void, that filled a question, something that needed to be answered. So when they're looking at it, they're not looking at it as, well, this is that book. Right. They're looking at it as, this is a part of a way of life, what I need to be a part of to be productive, to move on with my athletic abilities, move on with the rest of my life even outside of the athletic abilities. Absolutely. So they don't see it as a book. And that's the one thing. When they start to look at it as a book, then they start looking at it differently because it's like, and I was thinking about that with the textbook, and I'm going, you know what, that could be right. But then I said, wait a minute. Then if I look at a textbook, I would be looking at it like, oh, do I have to? And it's not about that because it's like the topic, which I'm glad that you had mentioned. It was about the motivational, inspirational. So it's a motivational inside the sport, something that's going to be positive. So when they get out there and they play and do their best, and let's say they go aggressive, but they have humility inside to not step out of character. So it is more than just a book. It is that daily devotional or that pregame.
Yes.
You know, do it before, you know, get the devotional, like you said. And that touched me when you said prayer.
Right.
You pray. So it's like when we hold hands and we pray before we get out there.
Right.
Okay? And the same thing happens if win or lose. If we come back in the huddle or go back on break, we're praying. And this is what this book is formulated as a part of that charisma, a part of that atmosphere, the environment. And that is something, and step in, you know, interject and say something wrong.
Sure.
To me, I believe that is something that an athlete would need in order to stay stabilized, because it is connected with a spirituality without going overboard.
Stabilize. I love that word. Stability is key in any walk of life, right?
Yes.
All right. The stability of an athlete can be very tricky because confidence relies sometimes in the attributes that they know they have. Like my confidence it resides in my speed. My confidence resides in my strength.
Isn't that with everybody though? Like someone who works at Ford's, their confidence is right where they know what they're doing.
Right.
Or a poet.
Absolutely.
Same thing. Comfortable writing poems.
Yeah, we trust in the things that we know we're good at. What I was finding is when athletes get hurt, it sometimes becomes a downhill spiral because now what I'm good at, I can't use. And now what I can't use today, will I be able to use it the same way I did yesterday or the day before that? And then the next piece is, wow, like I got to keep coming to practice, and I'm watching guys do things that I know, one, I can do better, or that I can help do. They help us win more games. Like there are so many things that are piled on to the athletic psyche when they get hurt or when they're not being as effective as they once were. And what I was hoping that this would do would stabilize them emotionally to understand, listen, like for a perfect example, Tony Dungy is the first chapter of the book, and it's called Endurance. And it was, I didn't know it was going to be the first chapter, just organically happened. And because in the beginning of the season, we're all excited. Man, I just had a baby. I'm so excited, the baby shower. And now you're not sleeping and you're like, oh my goodness, I need a coffee. Or, you know, I just got married, the honeymoon. She won't stop yelling at me because I won't put the toilet seat down. Right?
That should happen before marriage.
Fair enough. Well, if you're a single man, you probably won't, right? But I guess I'm only using that to hammer home that, like, we all kind of struggle with some things that we definitely know we want.
Yes.
So Tony Dungy, who turned over the Tampa Bay Bucks to make them a playoff contender team, before he could make them a championship team, he gets fired. He gets fired from Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay next year wins the championship. Then he gets hired for the Indianapolis Colts. His son commits suicide. Meanwhile, he's still in pursuit of a Super Bowl ring, a Super Bowl championship. And in the midst of all of that chaos, because he stayed focused on knowing, like, listen, like God has a bigger purpose for me, and now I just got to show my faith and keep walking because the platform that I have, people are watching me. And imagine, you know, reading this book, it just blew me away. Imagine that people can see the God and the faith in me as I bury my son. And that as I stand on the podium and say my last words about my son. And it really captured me to say, wow, the endurance to have all of those things happen, but he's still walking. And that when he keeps walking, he walked into his championship. through all of the chaos that you have to go through that we only can see just this much of, right? Mm-hmm. But we can see the celebration, the festivities, the confetti, the ring, the trophy, the smiles. Well, wait now, right here. Hey, my wife, why you wearing your ones? I'm not wearing church shoes. I still call them church shoes, right? Because I wanted to make a point with clean white shoes, right? Because when I grew up, my brother got his Jordans taken, right? Right? I don't wear Jordans because of that. Got his J's taken. And they were the Bugs Bunny J's, the Looney Tunes ones. Got them taken. Not only did he get it taken, he got to take them in our hood. Right? So I go, I just chase his shoes down like a big brother's supposed to, right? And then I see a dude walking in my brother's Jordans. He just cruising. I'm like, yeah, they clean, right? I don't even get to him. Before I get to him, he's scrapping because someone stepped on his shoes. Wait a minute. What? He just took that from my brother. Well, what is he scrapping over? Pride. That's what he's scrapping over. Pride. So that's why I wore these, right? Because you mean to tell me I'm willing to stand up for what's on my feet, but not what's in my heart or in my brain? I'm willing to fight for that, but not...
Yeah, watch it. Got the words on the track. Dead on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamont. Wow. Yeah.
with him as a person, like now you're invested in how he's going to respond from that. Right. Going back to why I created the book was to give people something that if I left Wagner today, or when I left Wagner last year, or if I left Penn today, excuse me, like I still want something that guys can get through when they get hurt, or guys can just, man, normally I would just go talk to Coach Hall and just, Coach Hall would make me feel better about what's happening. I wanted to be able to leave something with them even when I'm gone. Right. And I'm gone to, you know, Idaho or Michigan State or whatever school I go to next. I still wanted to be able to leave a piece of my coaching, which was all personal and spiritual, so to speak.
We are definitely running short on time. I definitely want you to come back, fly back up here and everything, you know. Do you have anything? And I definitely want you to come back. There's no doubt, okay?
Thank you.
Don't forget the football pants.
Listen, I will come back to give you the football pants.
All right.
Hey. I certainly won't be putting them on. And I can't thank you guys enough. The fact that you guys have been able to see the crossover in my material. I mean, my heart is really warmed on that. And again, I can't say thank you enough.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And everybody, when you attend, if you look in the bottom of the screen, that you can also go to, his book's available anywhere. It's called 77 Days, a Pre-Game, a Devotional. plus on the screen, it's also, I believe it'll show you his website. So when you get a chance, go to his website. And probably, do we have any games on there or something like that? Or maybe
one of the things that, what I'm doing right now, you can get all type of football drills online on Facebook. Type in Coach Malik Hall. You'll get all of the football drills that I have, along with the motivational speaking pieces that I do. Same, much like the book, but the parallels of athletics.
So all that'll be connected on the website. So they can, a link.
Absolutely.
It'll be like buttons that will be pressed into it.
And and again, I'll be back in Michigan for a spelling bee that I'm doing.
Oh, that too, yes.
To show grades 3 to 8 that, listen, I'm dyslexic and I wrote a book, and I only did that because I focused in on my effort and my attitude, not on my disability. And the moment you can recreate your focus, you can recreate your life. And
wow.
And that's what we're doing. So hashtag spell or go home for more information.
All right. Yeah. And everybody, you got anything to say before we get off here?
I thought it was a great interview,
I'm getting
Stephen.
a pair of football pants. I'm happy.
And everybody, you know what? Thanks once again, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week. Take care, and God bless.
Yeah, watch it. Got the works on the track. Dead on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamont. Wow. Yeah, the statistics shows my ballistic flows generate big cake, not wick candles. That's what guaranteed them. O's. I'm so ready. How to pack my clothes. I'm so heavy with no D. How them boys. I rock them gators more than Dundee boys. I'm the real raw deal. Y'all just steal decoys like them duck hunters runners, blowing whistles, making noise. It's official. Tell them nizzles. I'm the dizzle. Flow sizzle, flow shizzle. I'm off the hizzy, busy signal. I got that hustle muscle for that green like Luther Brick. No, not from New Orleans, but can you see me, homie? Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check or text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check or text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Yeah, look around, left, right, up and down. Ain't nobody like me. Wrist so icy, colors like iced tea. Them diamonds get pricey. Got rich now, everybody so nice to me. I'm a whiz kid, Doogie Howser. Just like the game, snatch your dame, I'm Bowser. Spit hot flames, stay sagging in my trousers. Even on church day, the preacher like no way. And Miss Jenkins like, Lord, take them demons away. In my headphones, Jesus walks by Kanye. Macking to a chickie, trying to get some kissy kissy. You can nibble on my neck, but no hickey. Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check or text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check or text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Baby, I'm the bomb diggy. Girls be begging for another chance like I'm Biggie. I run the city, call me P. Diddy. My life's Whoopi Goldberg, it ain't nothing pretty. It's been a long time coming, this ain't happened quickly. Overnight, try more like over and over until the morning light. Steady trying to get it right.